Hey, what's up, Steelers Nation? Your team is grinding harder than ever to get back to championship form, and you can feel it. Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin are building something special right here in Pittsburgh. The offseason has been intense, aggressive, and honestly like anything we've seen in years from this franchise. The Steelers are clearly aiming high in 2025, and it's not just about making the playoffs, it's about winning it all. Before we dive into today's exclusive story, possibly the biggest yet, go ahead and hit that like button to support the channel and help us keep bringing you real-time Steelers news, rumors, and analysis. And hey, subscribe while you're at it if you bleed black and gold. Let's get into it. It's no secret, Pittsburgh is on a mission this year, and now there's a legitimate chance that Terry McLaurin could be the next major piece to join the Steelers' reloaded roster. Yeah, you heard that right. Terry McLaurin, the star wide receiver for the Washington Commanders, officially requested a trade this past Thursday after months of tension in contract negotiations. He's frustrated. The Commanders are in a tight spot. And now, reports from ESPN's Bill Barnwell suggest the Steelers could be perfectly positioned to make the move. Let's break this down. The Steelers have already made blockbuster moves, acquiring DK Metcalf, signing Aaron Rodgers, revamping the secondary with Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay. But there's one thing that fans keep pointing to. The wide receiver room could still use another spark. Sure, DK is a beast, but imagine lining up McLaurin opposite him. That's not just a good offense, that's a Super Bowl caliber offense. And here's the thing, Omar Khan isn't done. If you've followed his tenure as GM, you know he's always on the phones, always looking for value, and never afraid to pull the trigger. That's how he landed Rodgers. That's how we shocked the league with the DK trade. Now, we might be staring down the next big move. Bill Barnwell laid it out. McLaurin could realistically be had for a third-round pick and maybe a late day 3 selectionist, especially if the acquiring team agrees to work out a new contract extension. Remember, Washington knows they probably aren't keeping McLaurin long-term, and they're going to want to get value now before the situation gets worse. Pittsburgh. We're sitting on 12 total picks in the 2026 NFL Draft. That includes 2 third. That's AMO. That's flexibility. That's exactly the kind of war chest Khan loves to use. Even better, the Steelers have plenty of cap space to absorb McLaurin's deal or give him the extension he wants. The Commanders might be contenders in the NFC now, but Pittsburgh is in the AFC, meaning Washington doesn't have to worry about seeing McLaurin in a playoff revenge game. That gives us a real edge over other suitors. And if you're still asking, why would the Steelers need another receiver? Look at the league. You win in today's NFL with firepower. Rodgers is a future Hall of Famer, but he needs the weapons. Adding McLaurin would take pressure off Metcalf, force defenses to play honest, and give this team one of the most dangerous WR duos in the league. Sure, this kind of drama sometimes ends with a new deal and a player staying put, but the signs here are different. McLaurin already reported to camp, held in 4 weeks, and still had to request a trade. This isn't about patience, it's about principle. And if the Commanders aren't willing to meet his number, they'll have no choice but to deal him. That's where Pittsburgh comes in. We've got the picks, we've got the cap room, and we've got a legit shot at competing right now. For McLaurin, it's the ideal situation, so keep your eyes peeled. If this goes down, it'll go down fast. And if you ask me, I'd say we're in the driver's seat. Now, switching gears real quick, let's talk about some under-the-radar roster news that could prove important down the line. The Steelers have re-signed nose tackle Breeden Fihoko as defensive line injuries begin to pile up in training camp. The heat's brutal, the pads are on, and some key rotational guys are already banged up. Enter Fihoko, a familiar face who knows the system and brings real depth. Fihoko announced the signing himself on X's, posting, "Non-earth-shattering news. I'm signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This isn't a flashy move, but it's a smart one." Fihoko has been in and out of the Steelers system since 2023. He knows the culture, understands what Tomlin expects, and if given the chance can fight his way onto the final 53, or at least the practice squad. Injuries hit the trenches hard every year. Having Fihoko in the building now gives us insurance, especially if some of those current camp injuries linger. He's also a guy the younger players can lean on as they grind through August. Fihoko brings with him 19 career games, mostly with the Chargers, before joining Pittsburgh. He's not a starter, but in a rotational NT role. He can plug gaps and keep the linebackers clean. Don't sleep on what that means for run defense in the AFC North. The first time we saw it, fans and media alike were puzzled. When has any team, let alone the Steelers, ever lined up for tight ends in a game-like situation, even in practice? It's certainly the first time I can remember this happening in Pittsburgh, but the madness doesn't stop there. During one team period, Jonnu Smith actually lined up at tailback, took a toss, and ran like a legitimate running back. This wasn't just a trick play, this was part of a structured formation they were seriously testing. And after digging around to see if anything like this has ever worked before, I found the exact blueprint. Back in Tennessee, Jonnu Smith pulled off this same kind of role when he was with the Tennessee Titans. And guess who was calling plays for him back then? Yep, Arthur Smith. This isn't some desperate experiment. This is Arthur Smith going back to what works, what he knows works. He's using Jonnu Smith not as a typical tight end, but as the versatile hybrid weapon he's always been capable of being. Why Jonnu Smith? Fits the Steelers' new identity. Let's make one thing clear. Smith is not your standard tight end. He's not just a guy who blocks and runs seam routes. What sets him apart is his vision with the ball in his hands, rare trait even among wide receivers. He thrives in open space, and Arthur Smith is showing that he's willing to manufacture touches just to get the ball in Jonnu's hands. Remember, Jonnu earned Pro Bowl honors last season with the Miami Dolphins. A lot of that success came from Miami's willingness to feed him the ball in creative wash screens, shovel passes, handoffs, you name it. Now compare that to Pat Freiermuth. Solid player, good hands, reliable target. But he's not the kind of athlete you design plays around to create yards after the catch. Jonnu is. The fact that Arthur Smith is already testing out these ideas during camp, not just keeping them as trick plays for Week 80's, a great sign. This isn't just a wrinkle. It's part of the foundation of this new Steelers offense. A modern offense with old-school physicality. Here's the part that should get Steelers fans truly excited. This team is building a hybrid offense that blends modern versatility with old-school physicality. Think about it. Aaron Rodgers under center. DK Metcalf out wide as a game-breaking deep threat. Caleb Johnson young and explosive, ready to contribute. And now, Jonnu Smith. Lining up literally anywhere and creating matchup nightmares. This is a massive departure from the more conservative and predictable offenses we've seen in recent years. Arthur Smith is bringing in creativity, motion, deception, and above all, explosiveness. And oddly enough, this group is starting to resemble the 2019 Tennessee Titans, a team that made it all the way to the AFC Championship. That squad had a run-first mentality, is super efficient QB1, elite WR, who could turn a short pass into a touchdown, and, yes, Jonnu Smith being used in unique ways sound familiar. The big picture, why fans should be optimistical of this, is happening for one reason. The Steelers want to win now. After years of offensive frustration, they're not sitting back and hoping for better results by doing the same things. Arthur Smith knows what he wants. He knows what he's seen work in the past, and he's clearly not afraid to get weird in order to get results. The 04 personnel package might not be a base set, but it's a sign of the creativity and trust that Smith has in Jonnu. It shows how serious the Steelers are about finding mismatches and attacking defenses from angles. We're not used to seeing Dot with Rodgers pulling the trigger and Jonnu Smith being moved around like a chess piece. This offense has real potential to be dangerous. Imagine a defense having to account for DK Metcalf running deep, Caleb Johnson on a drag, Freiermuth in the flat, and Jonnu Smith coming out of the backfield. That's not easy to scheme against. So, Steelers Nation, this offseason just keeps getting crazier. We've got Aaron Rodgers under center, DK Metcalf as WR1A, reloaded defense led by TJ Watt, Yolan Ramsey, and Joey Porter Jr. And now, Terry McLaurin could be the next chess piece moved into place. Omar Khan isn't afraid of making bold moves. The question is, should the Steelers go Elin to land McLaurin? Could this finally give Rodgers the perfect setup to deliver 7 to Pittsburgh? Drop a comment below and let me know. Should the Steelers trade a third-round pick to land McLaurin? Do you think adding another top receiver is necessary, or would you focus on another position? And are you happy to see Fihoko back in black and gold for another shot? If you made it this far, you're a real one. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss breaking Steelers news as it happens. Until next time, here we go, Steelers Nation.